Cobram Anglican Grammar School stands on the traditional land of the Maori people of the Yorta Nations. We pay our respects to the elders past and present. We acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this school and our community. Thanks so much everybody for being here tonight. It's a real pleasure and a real privilege to be able to stand up here and see so many families represented here this evening. And you've heard me say, and it probably sounds a little bit cheesy because I say it so much, that education is a collaborative thing between families and schools, and this is what we're here tonight around, that is collaborating to make sure we come up with the very best outcomes we can for our young people. So I'm just really looking forward to this evening and hearing what Mr. Thompson has to say, watching and listening to the different things that our staff members say around the evening. Thank you so much to our teachers tonight and others who have come along to be part of this evening. Really appreciate your presence. And tonight's a really significant night because what we're going to do is give you a whole lot of ideas around the educational pathway, the subject pathway, the career pathway, and potentially the life pathway for your young person. Which sounds a little bit dramatic, but in a sense that's the way it can be. So hopefully tonight we'll show some ideas that will put young people in good stead and families' confidence around the young person heading in the right direction. We have a fantastic school here. We're really heading in the right direction. Our introduction of the VM, the Sports Academy, Project Ready in Year 10, the upcoming edition of the Trade Centre, all of those things are really exciting developments for our school. We're really positioning ourselves, as I've said many times, to be a school for all people. And I hope tonight reflects that. So thanks so much for coming out this evening on such a cold night. My car registered -2 this morning on the way to work. It's never done that before. Didn't think it'd go below 0, but it got to -2. I don't think tonight's going to be as cold, but I really appreciate the fact that people are out on sun. It's cold, and not so much welcome evening, but you're very welcome tonight in these warm surrounds. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Willett. All right, and I'll just echo those thoughts of Mr. Willett. Thank you again for coming this evening on a very, very chilly night. It's a busy time of the year for all of us, but most particularly our Year 10s, as many of those sitting amongst us did a fantastic job in last week's production as that came to a head, and as many of you, hopefully as many of you as possible in the room, all will finish up a little week earlier than the rest of the school as you head off to work experience next week. Today represents one of those important dates as part of our journey. On Monday, students in Year 10 participated in My Pathways Day, where myself, Jade and other teachers really took them through a lot of the nuts and bolts and mechanics and a lot of the presentation that you as parents and guardians will hear tonight. Obviously, Wednesday the 19th of June represents our Subject Expo evening, and that is a chance for you to see our subjects on offer, to ask questions of the teachers and of the representatives from TAFE as to whether the subject is right for you, and to take that information away and make some informed decisions over the upcoming break. Our VCE plans and our course counselling day align with Wednesday the 24th of July, which is the first Wednesday back on return in Term 3. Now the structure of Wednesday the 24th of July, because we have a large Year 10 cohort, will mean that Year 10s will not be in attendance on that day, other than for the interviews that will take place with one of our key staff, which you are about to see on the screen. For those of you that don't know me, I'm John Thompson, Head of Senior School. To my right is Jade Drew, careers practitioner and all-round legend, who will no doubt rescue me when I inevitably stuff up this evening presenting some key information. Other key staff amongst this process include Ms Shay Doyle, include Mrs Carolyn White and Mrs Laura Roach, and they all will be one of the 5 counsellors that you will be interviewing with on our counselling day. I'd like to acknowledge all of the other staff in the room and give you a bit of an indication of what faculties and areas they represent. First of all, to our external guests, we have Kelly from GoTAFE. Kelly, thank you, waving in the background. And Tim, who's from the Ag School, which is represented by Wodonga TAFE. So thank you for your attendance this evening. On what no doubt would have been a reasonable drive for you to be here, and thank you for your attendance. I'll keep whizzing around the room as we go from left to right. We have Sharon Lee Parker here, who will be here to represent our table of VM. Mr. Dean Barnes, who is here to represent business management. All right, I think I go across to the other side, Mr. Jeff Brown, to represent Chinese language and culture. Mrs. Laura Roach, who is here for, remind me, just the general sort of vibe, just Marbo, the vibe and all of that. Mrs. Amy Carr, who will be here to put her best case forward for English, but all of you do English, so that's all good, but she'll be discussing the ins and outs of English. Mr. Anthony McConnell, who represents two of our new subjects that we're really excited to introduce into our program for 2025, and they are VCE Systems Engineering and our certificate in aviation, which is the operation of drones. So make sure that if you're interested in those subjects that you go and see Anthony. Ms. Shay Doyle, who is here representing Health and Human Development and PE, I believe. Sharon Bird, who will be manning the chemistry and mathematics tables. And Carolyn White, who is sitting at the food studies and the art making and the exhibiting tables there. Once this evening is commenced and I've finished my presentations, I will make my way to represent the physics, and I will try as best as I can to represent the biology table, even though it's a little bit of a stretch for me, but be kind to me if you have any questions about biology. As we move our way forward through to the VCE, a number of pathways present themselves to our students. For many a year, as a worker at a school nearby, we used to see CAG's position with that first triangle on the left as the one that students who wanted to complete a VCE were the ones that stayed here. Competitive schools in our region would often see those students who probably were more geared towards a trade and getting out into the workplace drift away from this place to get the training and skills that they needed in different schools. But as Mr. Willett said at the start, with the introduction of our VM, with Project Ready and the upcoming Trade Centre and the new courses that we are running, we're very, very proud to be positioning ourselves as a place for all learners. We don't shy away from academic success, and we want to see our students who want to achieve that academic success and give them every opportunity to do that. But we also want to be a school for students who see themselves working in the trades and those sorts of areas. So for that, we have the VCE VM, which has kicked off this year, and the VM stands for the vocational major. More information on that in upcoming slides. We have other pathways available to students where students can complete a VCE course with a VET certificate attached to it, or they can complete a VCE course with a school-based apprenticeship or traineeship for those that have got a bit of a work placement going. They're pretty set on the sort of career that they want to take, and they're prepared to do some on-the-job training, earn some money along the way, and complete their VCE at the same time. So part of this evening is really to make sure that everyone's aware of the rules and regulations around the VCE. So the VCE stands for the Victorian Certificate of Education. Now, to be awarded your VCE certificate, you need to complete a minimum number of units. And a unit is basically a semester of work in a subject. To complete a VCE, you need a minimum of 16 units. 3 of those units need to be English, and 2 of those units need to be English at Unit 3-4, which is what we would consider to be a normal Year 12 English program. So you have to pass both units of English in Year 12, and you have to pass at least 1 unit of English in Year 11. The obvious recommendation is to pass all of your English because that sets you up for the best success for your results, but that is the requirement to obtain a VCE. You need to complete 4 sequences. One of those can be English in Unit 3-4 in the same year, so you need to be able to do another 3 units of 3-4 sequences, and to meet an attendance requirement for each class. Now, our school has a recommended attendance of 90%. Okay, and the reason we have that such a high level of attendance is we know that the best way that we can work with the young people here in this room is to have the young people here in the room, to not have them missing school, to make sure that we can deliver that education to them, to supervise their work and ensure they're keeping up with the work demands of the subjects, which, as I found out as we did some quick work on Monday, it would be fair to say that our Year 10 students right now are probably not completing too much homework based on a little stand-up survey that we did. There will be demands, of course, if you want to complete a VCE to a very high level, there will be increasing demands for you to complete some work at home. But the best way for you to achieve your VCE success is for you to be here in school learning with us. Now this one has a video, does it not, Jade?
It does,
has
yeah.
a video? Perfect. I'm going to stand to the side and be quiet.
found
Senior secondary qualification that opens pathways to university, high-level tech or ventitive courses, apprenticeships, traineeships, and employment.
There are over 90 subjects to choose from across humanities, science, mathematics, technologies, arts, physical education, and languages, plus 27 vocational studies like automotive, health, and hair and beauty. Each subject has 4 units, and a unit is usually completed in 1 semester. If you successfully complete the VCE with study scores in 4 subjects, including an English subject, you will achieve an ATAR. Every successful VCE student in the same year is ranked from the highest score downwards, creating an ATAR ranking, which is then used by universities to determine how they offer positions on their different courses. Most students study between 20 and 24 units, which is usually 6 subjects in Year 11 and 5 in Year 12. First and foremost, you should consider choosing subjects you enjoy that will lead you into the future you want. Talk to your careers practitioner to help choose a pathway that best suits you. Authorised by Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Sorry about the audio there. As we go from a wireless model, I forget that sometimes the speaker here and then the speaker there don't talk to each other particularly well. Anyway. All right, on the other side of the coin, we have what we call the VCE VM, which is the VCE vocational major. All right, and the VCE vocational major has some similar requirements to the VCE in terms of unit completion. To be awarded a VCE VM, you will need to complete 3 VCE VM literacy or 3 VCE English units, and that includes the unit 3-4 sequence, just like the VCE does. All right, you'll need to complete at least 2 units of VCE VM numeracy or 2 units of VCE mathematics. The VCE VM also has other separate courses which are specific to the VM, which include work-related skills, which you'll be required to complete 2 units of those, 2 units of personal development skills, and 2 VET credits at a Certificate 2 level or above. And they include about 180 hours for the completion of that VET certificate. So students must complete a minimum of 3 other 3-4 sequences as part of their program. Unit 3-4 of the VCE VM studies may be undertaken together over the duration of the academic year to enable these to be integrated. So to complete a VCE VM, one of the differences or one of the flexibilities that you have is particularly in those top 2. Students completing a VM can either undertake the literacy or the numeracy studies, which are VM courses only, or they can participate in English or mathematics. Now, we have a number of students completing the VM this year. Pretty much all of them, other than a couple for mathematics, are doing the literacy and numeracy units, which are specific to the VM. Anyway, there is another video on this one, so as opposed to me continuing to blab, I think there's a video. Yep.
The VCE vocational major is a new 2-year senior secondary program that sits within the VCE, focused on putting practical life skills into action in a real-world environment and incorporating community-based activities and teamwork. This program offers a pathway into apprenticeships, traineeships, further education, or directly into a job. You'll study at least 16 units over 2 years, including the core units of literacy, numeracy, work-related skills, and personal development skills. You'll also complete 180 hours of vocational education and training at Certificate 2 level. Choose what suits your interests, with elective subjects like automotive, health, or hair and beauty. It's up to you. You can also choose other VCE units like biology or business management, or gain credit through structured workplace learning recognition for on-the-job training or work placements. Assessments are made in class with no external examinations, apart from the General Achievement Test, or any scored VET units you enroll in. The VCE vocational major develops a range of work-related and personal everyday skills you'll need in life. It's a good option if you prefer practical learning and don't need an ATAR when you finish school. Talk to your careers practitioner to help choose a pathway that best suits you. Authorised by Victorian Government, Melbourne.
So, as well as the VCE and the VCE VM in the first triangles at the start, we presented a couple of other options. We have VETs and SBATs. Now, VET in school certificates are undertaken by senior secondary school students as part of their secondary school certificate, the VCE. They are optional as part of your VCE, they're not a compulsory part of your program.
Except for VM.
Except for the VM, that's correct. So vocational education and training programs assist students to make the transition to further education, training and employment. Many programs are based on TAFE level entry courses. These programs are designed so that students can develop general work-related competencies and the skills and knowledge required in a particular industry. Students, hands up. Who's doing a vet course right now? Excellent. All right. How is it different to school? Savannah, can I pick on you? Oh, why not? All right, Sam, I'll pick on you then, because I know you'll answer me. How is vet different to school for you?
How is vet different?
Yeah. And what are you doing yours in, by the way?
The Cert 1 and 2 in sport, right?
Yep. Excellent. Cool. So how's it different? What's the sort of thing about vet as opposed to a class environment?
That's actually a really hard question.
And yours might be a little bit interesting, but I know that we've got other areas like hairdressing and things like that where the learning is largely practical. There are theory units to go with it, but there's a lot of on-the-job training to go with those sorts of things. So when we go up the back there and you'll see our certificate 2 in aviation, there will definitely be a more practical component to that as opposed to, say, the traditional VCE style of textbook learning, I guess you consider that.
There's still a lot of theory
Yes.
involved, but it does have a real-world practical application. So you'd work that out too, Heidi, with doing hairdressing. So it's very different. It's not just in there, it's getting in and getting your hands dirty.
Yeah. And you can see that it really sort of tailors down into a specific, role or career. As well as that, we have SBATs, which are school-based apprenticeships and traineeships, and they offer you the option of combining your senior secondary education with part-time employment and skills training. Right? The program is undertaken using a formal training contract with an employer. Okay, and that employer has a training plan registered with the VRQA. So you can't just turn up to whatever workplace you want and think you're just going to do a day a week. No, it needs to be structured. Your employer needs to be able to sign off. That work plan needs to be registered with what they call the VRQA, and these are the guys that make sure that when they come through schools that we're doing the VCE correctly, so they're pretty stringent with this sort of stuff. So regular school attendance is combined with a minimum of 1 timetable day a week of employment and structured training. Students' work and training should be at least 13 hours a week and on average over a 4-month period, which will be 7 hours of employment and 6 hours of training. So an SBAT is if you've got a career in mind and you've got a local employer that's going to be able to provide that ongoing employment for you, is a very good option if you want to see a good transition into a workforce.
And if anyone is interested, we do have a student that you'll be able to have a chat to tonight. Do you want to wave your hand? Who are doing school-based programs at the moment. So if you want to have a chat to them about how it works, then head up the back.
Yep. So one of the first videos that we watched there talked about the VCE structure and a 6 and 5 model. All right, the 6 and 5 model typically refers to the fact that students in year 11 will undertake 6 subjects as part of their studies, and in year 12 undertake 5 subjects as part of their studies. Right? It's very rare that I get a student go in year 12, can I just do 6? Well, we actually need to give you some time to study to get the best achievement out that you can out of those subjects. So at year 11, your program is typically going to look like this. It's going to look like a VCE English at units 1 and 2, and then 5 other VCE unit 1, 2 subjects. Or you might have 4 other VCE units 1, 2 subjects and a vet certificate. You might have 4 VCE Unit 1, 2 subjects and an SBAT, or you might have 4 VCE Unit 1, 2 subjects, and if you're fast tracking, and a number of you are fast tracking, if you've successfully completed Units 1 and 2 this year as part of your fast tracking program, that will be the 6th subject that you undertake. So the VM structure at CAGS looks a little bit like this. Typically, our students will complete literacy units 1 and 2 and numeracy units 1 and 2, aware that you have the option to complete English or a mathematics course. You'll complete work-related skills, unit 1 and 2, personal development skills, unit 1 and 2, and then one of the following, which includes a vet subject or an SBAT. The structure for our VM students that we propose or are planning for next year is slightly different to the structure that our current VM students are looking at this year, where this year students are at school for 3 days a week. Wednesdays is usually their vet or their SBAT work, and Friday is work placement. We want to keep work placement as part of the program for VM because we see that that's where you guys are heading. You're heading for work and further training, so we want to facilitate that further. But we do want to do it in a little bit of a different way, where instead of that, you'll be at school for 4 days a week, but at the end of the semester, you'll be sent out for an extended period of work placement. Much like a work experience that you're going on for a week next week, it'll be a longer period of time and it'll be a work placement more so than an experience.
So that's come about so that we can give the students flexibility to choose maths as a subject and English. We need them to be able to marry up with our timetable. But it's also feedback from employers in our local community where one day a week they find that they're just not able to spend enough time with the students to build their skills in a really good way. So they'd really like to see them in a block of time opposed to that one day a week. I know for some of you students, you might think that that one day a week is going to be really good. Doesn't mean you can't go and do some work on weekends. Just means that being here at school and then having that block of work can probably be more efficient for you and the employers to gain those skills. So.
Right. One of the things we talked about on Monday with our Year 10s is the fact that as much as I would like to offer you every single subject, we would have some incredibly small classes here at school if that was to take place. My Year 12 had a cohort of 170 students and even I couldn't do the geography that I wanted. As much as we want to offer everything, we can't offer everything. With that said, as I said to the students on Monday, because we are a larger cohort of students, we have provisionally allocated an enhanced level of subjects to what our Year 11s of current Year 11s, the Year 10s of last year, were able to get because we're a bigger group and we need to put more of you into a class. With all of that said, there may well be subjects that you desire to study that are not offered as part of our program. So for that, students are able to access additional or supplementary subjects through a few pathways. So if it's a language that you're looking to study, a language can be studied through the Victorian School of Language, and that is a class via distance, which will need acceptance and approval as part of that process.
Just bear in mind that the reason we will only accept the distance ones is that generally they're not run up here regional, so it can be quite a distance. So there are a number of languages that do offer languages via distance education, so they're really the ones that we would approve.
More common pathway, and as the administrator here at the school of this program, you may undertake a subject through what we call Virtual Schools Victoria, which you'll soon get to know as VSV. So should a sort of mainstream VCE subject not be offered here at school, students are able to undertake those studies through VCE. We have a couple of students here in the room undertaking subjects through VSV right now as part of the sort of fast track advanced program. One of the key considerations you may need to make if you are considering studying a subject through VSV is the fact that you need to be somewhat autonomous in your learning with those, right? Mr. Thompson doesn't have the time, none of us have the time to stand over your shoulder and make sure that you're doing your work. Those teachers have their work requirements. They will post their work to you online. Many of them offer online sessions which you can join to get further tuition, but you need to be an active learner to be communicating with those teachers that run their external programs. But VSV is an option should you want to undertake a study that we don't offer here at school. And likewise, as we have Kelly and Tim here as our representatives, you are able to select a subject through VET or through GoSAD. All right. Now, as part of the process, we want to ensure that everyone's got a program and considers some school subjects that we have here as backups, because some of these will require application and some of these, depending on class availability, may not be approved. All right. So as it says there, additional enrolment forms will be provided and not all requests will be approved. So in 2025, subjects available through Cobram AGS are listed up there on the board. So obviously English, we're looking to offer history, business management from the sciences, biology, chemistry and physics. We're offering health and human development and physical education. In mathematics, we have general math and math methods. For languages, we have Chinese language, culture and society. In design and technologies, we have food technology and systems engineering. And we have the visual arts subject of art making and exhibiting, which, if you had any interest or knowledge of previous study designs, was formerly called studio art. The VM is somewhat more, I guess, prescriptive and more focused into what you would do if you're undertaking a VCE VM. So you'll be choosing most likely literacy or numeracy with the option of choosing English or a VCE mathematics. You'll be undertaking a work-related skills course, a personal development skills course, and then undertaking a VET or an SBAT as part of your program. One of the things that we have to do and carefully consider, and as part of our process, we have surveyed students along the way, got feedback for what subjects that you would have an interest in, which then forms part of our blocking program. So students, when they select their subjects, will need to select one subject from each block, because that is the time that is available here to us at school, timetabled so that we're not running two subjects that a student wants to do at the same time. So this has been done based on a considerable amount of consultation, I would suggest, between the key players that you saw at the very start of this presentation. Obviously, as part of the process goes through, students will be selecting these subjects, but please report to us if there are any clashes, because, yeah.
So generally what will happen is in the little packs that students took home today, there is an actual VCE My Plan. So that is the actual form that we require for you to select the program that you would like to undertake, and then list obviously your subjects, taking into consideration what block they're from. If you are using the blocking sheet and completing it, then you shouldn't have any clashes. If you're not looking at the blocking and you filled it in based on just what you're wanting to do, and you come to the interview, and if there is a clash, then obviously whoever you have as your counsellor will go through and re-counsel to try and see if there's another way that you can undertake that subject, whether it be by distance and you're a suitable student for that pathway, or we will look at an alternative subject. So it's really important that you do use the blockings, because it will save you time as well. You know, going backwards and forwards all the time trying to get it right can be a little bit tedious for yourselves, trying to then get confused about which subject you're actually doing or not doing. So that's why we give you the blocking, and it is on the forms in your pack, but if you do have any questions, just come and let me know.
Just as a point of clarification with some of these blockings, just to explain some of the codes. So there's subjects on there that students in this room won't be selecting. Nobody in here, I believe, is going to jump straight into Unit 3 and 4 English. Right? There will be students in this room who are fast-tracking subjects like mathematics and psychology, who, if they enjoy the subject, are achieving good results, will continue with those subjects as part of their program. Mostly you'll be selecting from subjects that are either labelled as Unit 1 and 2, if you're selecting VCE, but there are other subjects over here such as chemistry, Chinese, physics, and math methods, which indicate Units 1 through 4. So to make sure that we can run those classes with a face-to-face teacher, just like I'm doing at the moment with physics, we have both classes in the room at the same time. So I teach physics to both a Unit 1 class at the moment and a Unit 3 class at the moment at the same time. So the way in which that works is a teacher will do some theory loading and some front work with a particular group of students, might be the Unit 1s, on a particular lesson, in the time that then I need to load up the Unit 3s with some knowledge. Unit 1s will be completing their set work, still with me in the room to assist. All right? I think Jack works pretty well. Would it be fair to say?
Yeah.
Come on, give me some support here. Yeah. Right? And yeah, that will take place for a number of those subjects, so that we can run those subjects in the diversity of choice that we want to offer our young people here in the room. So what should you consider when planning your VCE? So first and foremost, start to think about the subjects you love and the subjects that you are good at. Continue to think about those subjects that are going to set you up for success beyond this place, beyond school. All right, so as it says there, what subjects am I currently completing in Year 10 that I'm good at? Knowing that you might not even have the full range of subjects, so for example, science in Year 10, we haven't done any physics yet. So you can't really say if you love physics or not if you haven't done the Year 10 physics side of things. All right, but what are you currently completing in Year 10 that you're interested in? What are your strengths as a student? Are you a hands-on learner? All right? Do you see yourself as going into the workplace? All of those sorts of things. Have you thought about a career path that you may wish to follow? Have you asked other students who are doing the subjects? Okay? Talk to the 11s and 12s. They're not that scary, I think. A little bit, but that's okay. Have you looked at any prerequisite subjects that are needed for a possible tertiary entrance? The one thing I will caution with that is the prereqs. I said the same thing on Monday, didn't I? I'm doing really well. You can't rescue me when I talk like that. No. The prerequisites are what you absolutely have to do to get into a course, but there will be some subjects where you should probably consider doing them if you're going to go off to university. For example, In previous years at previous locations, we had teachers suggesting to students that if they wanted to go and do a Bachelor of Science at uni, that they didn't have to do biology, chemistry or physics. Now that to me is ludicrous. If you're going to go off to university and do science, you should be doing science now. Why do you want to do science if you don't want to do science now? So consider those subjects that are useful for your pathway, all right? And if you have absolutely no idea, which I'll openly admit, at year 10 I probably didn't have much of an idea myself, have a conversation with Jade. She'll absolutely put you on the right path. All right, so how to choose a VCE program, a really condensed summary of that. What do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? What prerequisites, I will say badly on purpose so I don't sound like I'm stuffing up. What do you require, if any? One thing I cautioned against to our students on Monday is this idea of study score / ATAR boosting. So I've had students in the past who have decided to undertake a course which was such a grind to them. I'll take, for example, math methods. And the work that they had to put in to do something like that to achieve a study score of 25, which may have been boosted to a 27, and they didn't like the subject, thinking that I'm going to do this really hard subject, I'm going to do it because it boosts my ATAR and I'm going to get the course that I want. Versus, when they really had a desire to complete PE at that particular time, something they loved, something they enjoyed doing, they were very active, not that PE is necessarily going out and kicking soccer balls at a VCE level, but that subject came far more naturally to them. But they said, no, I'm going to do methods because it's going to boost my ATAR. Well, I would suggest to that person that really loved PE, did it well through 7 to 10, the work that they would have put in to get a 35, which may have been adjusted down to a 32, versus the absolute slog that they had to put in to get a 25 in methods, which might only get boosted up to a 27, you're doing a subject that doesn't serve your purpose. So at the heart of that, those three things. What do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? What do you need? Those three questions there should shape your future. As part of it, remember that you are selecting a 2-year program. So for most of you in the room, if you're undertaking a VCE, you'll be picking 6 subjects. When you roll around to year 12, you'll be undertaking a course of 5 subjects, which, I guess if you do the math on that, gives you the option to drop the least favoured of your year 11 subjects. All right? So that is what it is all about. If you need more information, that's what we're here for tonight. Okay, keep an update on our socials. Jade will answer all of your questions through that email at careers@cags.vic.edu.au. You can continue to research using the My Pathways Day website, which our Year 10 should all have links to as we use that on Monday. And of course, if you want more information for the remainder of the evening as we man our stalls, please be sure to ask all the questions that you have. No question is too silly.
Just on the My Pathways Day website, so it's a website that I've put together that has all the information that you've heard tonight. Each subject that we actually have on offer, we have a video on, so you can actually see what's involved in terms of the study design, the tasks that you'll be doing. So you get a little bit more of an idea of what subject really is. I know there's some visual learners opposed to readers, so instead of having the booklet, it's all online. There's extra information about vet courses, so all of the GoTAFE, the Ag School brochures are all online for you to access as well. And it's just got lots of information about school-based traineeships and apprenticeships there. Now the students that were here on Monday, do you still have that website address? You all should be saying yes. I will send a sector out to all of the Year 10 families first thing tomorrow morning, so that you will have that link, so that you'll be able to use that. I really encourage you to spend some time with your young ones to actually go through that, to really help them make a really good informed decision on their pathway. We all know that it's hard to work out what we want to do, where we want to go, and it changes so often. So if we can get something that actually suits what they enjoy doing, then that's the best thing that we can do. We all know that if we like doing something, we do well in it. If we don't do very well, and that's just because we're humans. That's the way that we are wired. So please spend some time with them to try and really help them, give them all the help that they can, so that when they do come back, they're really set for a good VCE and good final couple of years of their senior schooling. So, yeah.
Right. Thanks, Jade.